Sell gold now. I'm your host, Steve Van Metre, and thanks for joining me today. In our show today, we're seeing a very rare technical pattern forming in gold that indicates prices of the metal are about to plummet. And we'll take a look at the machine positioning that are currently long and what price level gold has to hit before they turn into sellers. But before we get to that, we're seeing a major breakout forming in the equity indices. We're seeing bond prices coiling up and looking to break out. And we've got an update on one of our former trades that looks like it's heading even higher, and a trade that many people right now in that sector are afraid to take a piece in. But we'll take a look at all of that, the technicals, momentum. But first, let's head over to Goldman on our way to find out what's going on with gold. And here we can see from Goldman this week, they had note the discretionary shorting as the CFTC net non-commercial or speculative S&P 500 E-mini futures positioning is short over 300,000 contracts. This is the highest short level since November 8th, 2011, or in the last 11 years. So as we look at first here, the major equity indices, we're going to look at the S&P 500. The takeaway here is a lot of speculators at the highest level in 11 years are betting the market goes down. So if we see a move higher in price, which I'm going to make the case for today, you're going to see a lot of short covering, which could accelerate the S&P and the other major indices straight up. It's also during the max corporate blackout window right now. Keep in mind we have 2 more weeks of that before the peak window starts to close down. And in the meantime, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that CTA or machine demand is still very favorable, particularly now over the next week. Look at this on a global basis, flat tape next week here, 42.4 billion to buy, over 11 billion in the S&P 500. If you see a rally, there's not a big push, only up to 43 billion and only up to 12 billion in the S&P over the next month. Though, notably look at this. So if we think forward a week going into that last week of peak buyback blackouts, we only see a move from 42 billion to 46 billion and an update 43 to 55. So what we can note here is this next week is really critical for the market because the machines now have to become buyers during this blackout period, which could be great timing because this blackout ends, the machine positioning is they're going to stop their buying program. And if they do manage to push the market higher, well, all those shorts will be forced to cover. And here you can see the rolling 10-day change in the global CTA positioning. Again, this from Goldman, moving higher as we suggested it would play chase. It played chase to the downside, but then overcommitted. Now it's coming to the upside. Here's your signals over 4,225 on the S&P. That's their next buy window. Under 4,120, look for them to sell. So you know they're not far off from that buy window. Let's take a look at our momentum screens and get into the charts. What do we notice on the S&P 500, largest ETF, SPY? Momentum's positive. We got an RSI at 62. Now, if you're new to the relative strength indicator, you want to see a number over 40 to tell you momentum is moving higher. The MACD, the moving average convergence divergence strategy, you want to see a positive cross that's moving higher. We've got that. Our own proprietary Momentum Timer Pro report. So down here in the very bottom, which is couponed right now at $60 a month, includes some research reports from our buddy Jeff Snyder and Tracy shoe charts on oil and gas and the broad market. So check that out. And what do we note? 18 consecutive daily buy signals. So what this does is it pulls a bunch of these technical indicators together, smooths them out. We had a buy signal on March 30th at 404. Friday's closing at 412. Upside target 429. And now you're looking at CTA-Timer Pro right below here. This is our mimic of the machine positioning with a historical overlay. And so it's telling us right now the machine should be near position at max long. We're hearing that from Goldman as they move higher. And of course, we know CTA-Timer Pro is way ahead of these other machine reports. So keep that in mind. All our reports, 30-day money back guarantee. Check them out. Links in the description below to sign up if you want to do that. Let's start out here at SPY. And we got this on the 2-year chart, and this is really obvious. We said there was a neckline up here right around this 416, 417 level. You'll notice we've been talking about this inverse head and shoulder. So here's your left shoulder, head, right shoulder, another right shoulder. But notably, the shoulder here came in with some volume, broke above the 200-day moving average, over the 100-day, over the 50-day. And here's that nice deep volume profile line at 396.39. Tells you the buyers are below, sellers are above, and the sellers here, if this can break break through this last round of selling. And if not, look for a breakthrough of this at some point. And I think this is the week. If we see these CTAs push through here, what you'll note is you'll see there's a big gap here between these zones. Well, these are called supply zones. So likely you see the S&P make a quick move up here to 429, potential move all the way up here to 446. So a lot of potential upside here and beautiful breakout pattern. Now let's talk about the next setup. We're going to skip over the NASDAQ QQQ. I know we normally cover that, but do keep in mind in today's show, we're still bullish on that. We still have our signals, but let's talk about the bond market here because there's a lot of interesting things going on with it. And here's what we can see, the same story here as we've had for weeks now. They're going to buy under 3.3, so yields got backed up last week, so we're going to see a little bit of positioning change on the short term. Notably, we get from TD here and some of the other sources that we look at each week for the show, that there's really not a lot of movement scheduled in the bond market this week. They're kind of in a neutral zone, no real position to buy or sell. So let's continue here and take a look at our screens on TLT. We know momentum has now turned back negative, and it looks like I forgot to update this. It should say 2 consecutive daily sell signals. You can see it right there. But notably on the 3-month window, the 1-month window, it's maxed out. So what's really cool about Momentum Timer Pro is it looks over a window and nets out the pluses and the minuses. And if you see the pluses start to move up, it's telling you the signal on the technical side is strong. So over the last 1 month, we're seeing a very strong signal. It's maxed out. You're seeing on the 3-month window, it's at a mid-level of strength, and on the 6-month window, it's at a minimum and starting to increase from there. So over multiple time scales, we're seeing these technical picture look real strong. RSI is at 47. That's really good, but the MACD is turned negative. We had to buy it open on March 20th. We're still holding that view. Friday's closing down just slightly. Upside target, we revised that down now to 109. But I want you to know here you see on the CTA-Timer Pro a little bit of selling on the fast signal. So there's 2 signals. There's a fast and the slow. There's far more positioning on the slower signal. So we're not going to see much movement here, but we're seeing a little movement on that. Let's take a look at the charts because TLT's got this beautiful coiling pattern, and it's coiling inside that pattern. So here you can see price came down. Again, we're on the 2-year chart. Prices are coiling in between here, and now they're making a smaller coil. There's a strong volume profile at 106.59. Sellers are very aggressive up here around this 108 to 109 level. So what you want to see is a breakout of from right above, we'll say 108. If you see that, all of a sudden these shorts that are up here around 108, 109, at some point they get tired out and they break to the upside. They've got to start short covering, the machines start buying, and now you see a move higher. This is exactly what you want to see off of a bottom, is a long coiling pattern flushing out all the last of the sellers before you get a move higher. So again, beautiful pattern there that we're seeing on TLT. Now I want to go back to a setup. We're not going to take a long look at the chart here, but I want to show you a trade that we gave you on this show and to our pro subscribers. It's up 10% since we made the call. Here you can see XLE, momentum's positive, so price could still go higher here. RSI slowing down a little to 61. MACD's got a positive cross on it. Momentum Timer Pro still has 4 consecutive daily buy signals, so you notice I took the signals off. You want to see them, sign up for the reports, check them out. Everybody really loves them, so I think you'll like them as well if you haven't tried them out. March 28th, we put a buy it open, 79.10. Friday's closing, 87.23. You'd be up 10%. I'm telling you, if you haven't moved your stops up or put on a trailing stop, now is the time to do it, because if there's a reversal here, you want to capture your gain as much as possible. Let's take a look at the chart, see where XLE can go, and notably you see it's following this rising trend line higher. We got this what's called a bear trap form. I think you could see this easily move up in here to the 89 range. Let's take a look at crude oil real fast because there's a nice relationship there. We know that crude oil is kind of maxed out here, getting to overbought territory, hitting the 200-day moving average. You're going to get no machine support at this current price level. It's got a rally here. So if there's some economic data that supports it, look for oil to move higher and XLE in turn to move up. That's why I'm suggesting here, put those stop losses on, tighten them up, and bank that trade if you feel that now is the time to do it. Because here's the next one, and we're going to show you a very early signal here that we're going to get into gold on our next option here. And this is the S&P Bank ETF. This is your regional banks. I know some of you will say, wait, what are you talking about here? Momentum being negative, RSI at 39. I mean, they're coming off of oversold territory. MACD's got a nice little positive cross. Momentum Timer Pro, one consecutive daily sell signal. So I'm going to put a buy it open here. I'm going to show you why. And I'm not suggesting you take a big position here or even one at all, but we're going to put a buy it open signal as of Monday morning. Friday's close, 36.49. Upside target, I'm saying it's the 50-day moving average. And why are we going to do this? I want to show you how easy the CTA-Timer Pro report is to use. Remember, this was minus 100, minus 100. The subscribers who were on the report, they saw this. And look what's happened to the short signal. It's building up. So what you would then do is head over to the charts and also notably look at Momentum Timer Pro. Max sell signal over 1 month. Sell minimum over 3 months. It's still holding a buy minimum over the 6-month window, but that's going to come down. All right, let's take a look at KBE. Here it is, and you can see this big drop, and look at all the volume that came in and put a stop to this decline as buyers came in, and then price, we'll zoom in a little bit here for you. Price came down, buyers came back in, supported it up. Buyers came in, or sellers came in again, and now look, it's breaking above the 21-day moving average. I think it can rally up here to the 50-day. And so what is CTA-Timer Pro, which is a mere $30 a month, telling you, hey, if you weren't watching that minus 100 signal, you should be, because it looks like it's putting in a bottom here. You see the MACD's got a positive cross. You see the RSI's building off that oversold territory. So you're seeing a lot of signals here that you may not have looked at because of fear of what's going on in the banking industry. But one thing that nobody seems to be afraid of right now is gold. Let's take a look at what this rare technical pattern is, why I think that gold could head lower, and where the machines will be selling if it does. All right, for the first here, here's your signals on the machine positioning. They're buying above 2,050, so notably we're really close to these levels. Selling below 1985, so if that heads down, look for gold to sell. And remember, I've told you last couple of weeks that this is sitting near extreme positioning. Let's look at the screen on GLD. Momentum is positive, which it should be. It's got 25 consecutive daily buy signals. MACD has just started to turn negative. The RSI is slowing down a little bit now at 58. Now, notably, we've said no position in this, and look for a short opportunity. Just for those who are wondering, my firm is not licensed to give advice on short selling, so notably we will not tell you to short this because our firm is not registered to do that. If you're comfortable with it, take a look at this. If you're not, don't do that. Just hang tight, look for some other long positions for your portfolio. But here's a potential short opportunity. Upside target back to the recent 5-year all-time high. Next downside target 179. And how would you know that this is a potential short opportunity? Because when you see 100% long on the short and long of CTA-Timer Pro, it's telling you not just to the machine positions now, but it went and did a historical overlay and saying, look, this thing is way in extreme position. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, just means keep in mind, historically, it's already there. That is opportunity potentially knocking to the other direction. All right, let's take a look at these charts for gold now. And we're not going to look at GLD. We're going to look at the big metal itself, the gold futures. And notably, what do you see? I want to see this top coming up here, but notably what happens? You see this volume coming up here. So you get a big shoot higher in the MACD. You get the RSI at overbought positions, and you get a nice strong amount of volume. And this is what you want to refer to as a distribution. So you see there's distribution patterns and there's accumulation. So big players accumulate at the bottom and they distribute and sell at the top. So what you're seeing here is retail came in and bought this, and what you saw then is sellers follow with that. Look at this next wave here. Buyers came in, of course, retail again driving this higher. Notice there's some volume here as, again, distribution prices come down. You get another big push from retail investors driving this up. But now I want you to see this top up here. Notice how their volume is right here as retail comes in and bids this up, but the volume is weak up here. That's your signal, what you're looking at. The volume is telling you the goose is kind of cooked on this trade. So let's also take a quick look at the dollar before we wrap the show up. because as you can see, a lot of people think the dollar's going down, and maybe we should be looking for a reversal. Again, we know there's no position on this. It doesn't move a whole lot for people to trade. Momentum Timer Pro's 20 consecutive daily sell signals. You see it turns purple here. So if you see this on the report, if you're signed up, look for extreme moves, either one direction or the other. Go back, you see extreme positions in blue on GLD on the same report. Notably, we're minus 15% short on the fast and the slow algorithms for the CTA model report. Let's take a look at the chart here, because what I think you can see is what everyone else wants to see, and that is a breakdown here of 101 takes us down to 98. Everyone says mega bullish for gold. Okay, I get the case. Let's zoom out here, because we see this happen before. Gold or dollar rallied up, it came down, tried to form a bottom, rallied off of that. Seemed familiar. Hit the 100-day moving average, broke above it, but gets rejected, and then comes shooting down, where eventually it finds some buyers, which would suggest that major supports at 98. Look up here, rejected the 100-day. The problem is, if this holds here and rallies off of that 101 level, well, all of a sudden the bull case for gold is going to get unwound really quickly. So with that, I'm Steve Van Metre. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being fans. Bye now.